The language of rights is and sometimes a very puzzling language because it has devolved into simply what any individual prefers becomes his or her right. But I think the core notion of human rights is really a notion that when human beings flourish, they have certain fundamental needs met, and that every human being has an entitlement to having those fundamental needs met. And I think that's a powerful notion.
The Social Justice and Human Rights Conference was quite successful at bringing together, again, disparate groups, not just academics talking to other academics, but social justice practitioners being able to talk to academics. I'm excited about having an event where you can get people like that up there and tell their story, give their narrative of what's possible, what kind of change is possible, you know, and in that there will be the academics talking, and you know, but again, the dialogue is to sort of that you want to create is where people leave feeling enriched and empowered.
The inherent rights theorists hold that just being a human being of a certain sort is enough to give one certain rights. And he holds that at bottom a society is just insofar as its members enjoy those rights, insofar as its members are rendered those rights.
I think the reason rights are important in a similar way to in the larger point is why justice is important is because we are intensely social creatures. Intensely is not even the right word. We're inherently social. That's what it is to be human beings. So we live together and we need ways to structure our relationships, and I suppose this is where justice and rights really come in, when we come into conflict with each other, because we want different things, and yet whatever ways we'd have to solve or to deal with our differing desires, living apart from each other or indifference is often not possible, and I think more importantly is often a very bad solution.
One of the things very often that is at the common root of human rights violations is a failure to actually know each other, to be in relationship with each other in a meaningful way so that we can actually know and discover those universal aspects of our humanity. And when we don't know each other, when we don't create opportunities for safe dialogue and for meaningful conversation, then the ignorance can continue, and in fact it can feed upon itself. That's where stereotypes come from. That's where misconceptions and judgments come from.
Judaism is very communal and very communally oriented. So one of the problems we have in this culture is that this culture is very individualistic. It's not easy to communicate what it means to belong to a community and have communal values, and that sometimes these communal values take precedence over individuality.
I think the distinction not being between private and the public somehow creates this gray area which is left to the autonomy of an individual, but individual is not seen as the self-regulating moral agent. Rather, moral agency is viewed in terms of the individual's relationship with the others. And I think it's sometimes a struggle to make a distinction between the two.
One of the strengths of the conference is bringing people of different theological traditions together, obviously in dialogue, which I hadn't been aware of till I arrived. And I think that every faith tradition has a tradition of justice and love in it. And what we need to say is, what we need to know is what is the contribution of that faith community to creating and sustaining authentic human community. What kind of community do we want? So it's not just things about let's go to the synagogue and understand what the Jews do, but what has the Jewish tradition got to bring to the human community? What has the Christian tradition got to bring to the common pot? What are the Muslims going to bring that perhaps some of us don't have? And I think that can be extremely creative for the future.
Are there particular themes that we need to be paying attention to worldwide right now? Can we talk about social justice in universal terms, or do we need to stick to concretes? These are the kind of questions that got raised at this conference, and that were then addressed by both practitioners and theorists, trying to listen to each other, trying to learn from each other, and that was just a very positive experience.
The conference, like the work that ICS has been doing, is really remarkable in engaging discussion across academic disciplines, across faith communities, and also bridging what sometimes feels like a great divide between academics and practitioners.
The human community is going to have to develop both structures for justice and structures for peace, and at the same time relationships that allow those structures to flourish. And again, we had a strong balance of that here. Individuals engaging with one another as panelists, groups coming together either in sponsorship or in engagement in the content of the various programs and panels that were offered.
It's very, very powerful and empowering for people to come together to speak from the heart about an issue that fundamentally is about the heart and soul of our humanity, and to encourage each other to share struggles, to share bold experiments and things that people have tried, and to basically up the game, just as any other professional association or any other specialized group would come together and learn from each other and benefit from each other's experiences and wisdom.